You're watching Global News Morning on Global Kingston. Thanks for being here on this Wednesday morning. Our good friend Matt Lee is here, and we always learn something new from Matt. Just so much information this man has. And today we're talking about maybe some damage to your homes that you don't see coming. And we're talking about root damage. Explain this, Matt.
Yeah, so we're talking about root systems on trees, or actually, let's even say evergreen hedges that are close to the house. So we're talking about foundation issues, we're talking about eaves trough issues, we're talking about sewers, we're talking about all the different things where these root systems will go. They want to go to water, and that's the biggest thing. So if you kind of think of it, and they're going to be attracted to water, it's almost like they can smell it. So if you're, you kind of have to try to be ahead of it, and we want to talk about each individual piece and kind of try to prevent any damage.
Well, this is the time of year we're seeing a lot of sun, we're seeing some rain, so everything is hyper growing right
Absolutely.
now, including trees. Now, when you look at a tree, you see all the branches. Is it true that underneath the ground it's the same size?
It's twice as big.
The root system is twice the size.
It's twice as big. So, if you have a cedar hedge, is more of a shallow base, so it's not as much. But like the maples, the oaks, the hardwoods, if you look at the actual plume of the tree or the bulb of the tree, the root system is twice as large.
Wow, so if that's close to the house, there's going to be structural damage to the foundation.
If you're starting to see branches almost touch the house, then those roots are actually pushing against the side of the house.
Or if you see a branch coming through your basement, pretty much.
If you're starting to see something like that, you need to get somebody in to dig it up.
Yeah, okay. Let's take a look at some pictures. We got some visual aids to support here.
So these are, the hedges and the root systems that are more of like just kind of a weed. Like we get these Manitoba maples that grow, and what happens is they're kind of a quick growing tree, so they will cause damage just as much as a hardwood tree. This is exactly what I'm talking about, where root systems will go to water. This is kind of what the idea is. The clay tile, we did this in the 60s and 70s, where the clay tile kind of met each other, so they're actually kind of put together, and they will find their way in. So I mean, if you're in certain areas in town, I would be having the line scoped just to double check, because if you go to dig it up, I've talked to different plumbers, and kind of a rule of thumb is about $100 a foot to replace it. So I mean, you're getting into, what is that digging? Is that permits? Is that, so I mean, you're into $3,500 to $5,000 to replace that sewer line. If that root system gets in there and stops anything from coming out of the house, you're going to have to take care of that. That's not a city problem.
We're talking about, I guess, older homes where it could be a problem. Anything new?
Nothing new, not new, but what happens is, I mean, everybody makes mistakes over time, and I mean, if somebody dropped a rock in that hole by accident, I mean, you're not supposed to have rock around there. It's supposed to be sand, and it's supposed to be a grade A gravel, and you're supposed to be working your way up. But if that, like say our ABS plastic pipe gets nicked and it creates a hole, or for some reason it gets put in and the piece where the joint where it was connecting comes loose, and there's water and seepage of any sort, that root system will go to the water and it'll work its way back. And I mean, we're talking fine hairs, then all of a sudden it turns into a bigger root.
Wow, we have some more pictures here to pass on to you.
And again, root systems, as we're talking about, they tend to bend down once they hit the house, and they'll push against the side of the house, and then all of a sudden you say, why is that wall leaning? Why does it look like it's changing in direction? I mean, we get a lot of damage from ice as well, because of our climate. But if you think, okay, this wall, the structure looks good, it doesn't seem to have any pitting, so therefore you would notice if it was ice. But there's a close tree, and you think, okay, well, there looks like there's a bit of a shift in this. That tree root could be going against it, and as the root hits it, it's small at the time because it's just a piece at the end, and then it turns. And once it gets bigger and bigger and it starts to grow, it'll start to put weight against it, and then it'll start pushing on it, and over time, it could cause major damage, as in the foundation issue.
Yeah, I can't imagine where you would start to fix that. You have to dig up that root first of all.
Yep. Yeah, you'll have to dig up the outside of the house and drag it, and then basically you'll have to see how bad is the damage, how far has it gone, and do you actually have to kind of support the house from the inside and maybe have to reblock that wall.
2 more pictures here to show you.
And then, you know, you'll get your common damage, which is like an asphalt driveway, you know, and what happens is you'll start to see these roots that are coming up through, more cosmetic than, it's not as structural, but I mean, still driveways can cost anywhere from $4,000 to, if it's a double driveway, it's 8,000 probably, you know, somewhere in that. And then this is letting a tree go too far. Yeah. So this is one of these things where you think, okay, what damage is it not going to cause? I mean, you're looking at roof, you're looking at eaves trough, you're looking at the brick on the side. I mean, the window itself, I mean, if it gets in behind the flashing on the window, then all of a sudden it's going to start pushing in as well. There's just too many things to get the mini trees.
Yeah.
Have the mini ones.
Let someone
nice.
2 generations from now worry about it.
Yeah. That's,
Matt Lee, always a pleasure to see you. Thank
Thanks.
you so much.
Real Estate Tips, brought to you by Matt Lee of Royal LePage.